What's up, everybody?
What's
It
up?
looks like no suds, no acres. We could have an ultimate show tonight.
And now they're going
You
to jump
mean
in
we're
at
actually
any
going to
moment.
stay on topic?
Oh my god. It's a possibility. As George's sports picks as bad as his movie picks. Oh no. No, I will end that here. That was a fun weekend, needless to say. Totally
And Sean's gone.
Sean just hit that button on his phone and went, damn it. Yep, there he is. It's like, where did he go?
Really, I didn't even notice his name until now. Not Bill Rose.
Not Bill Rose, right? Oh man. No.
Well, look at the bright side. If this is it, you shouldn't have any worries about having to mute and boot anybody out of the chat or out of the videos into the green room.
Right.
Let's see if I can come up with something.
Oh shit!
It's got to happen at some point. It just has to. It's not a Dueling Aces show.
Without somebody
We're not
getting it.
people. Yeah.
There he is.
What's up, Clint?
Clint
What's up?
is in the house.
I'm Clint Boombaye today. That's my new name.
Nice.
Three amigo.
No.
Yes,
No.
no. Yes.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun doing the charity shows. Not just doing it.
What wasn't a lot of fun was your list.
Well, apparently, hey, I'm sorry, but if you have a list that apparently rocked the apple cart and it carried over to the next podcast show and then also carried to the next podcast show and then still carried into its own segment on Three Geeks 2 days later, you did something well.
You know you were wrong.
Yeah. Well, apparently that too. Or that too, but apparently it got people talking. So
You had it at 2.
Hell, we're still talking about it, Clint.
Yeah, we're still talking about it. And
I know, I
thank
just
you,
like
Jason,
trolling.
for the reminder.
No, he was so stoked to hope that I was gonna get in trouble for my list.
I wasn't. I not by a long shot. I was surprised. I was like, man, I said I didn't know that many people really enjoyed the movie. What was I supposed to say? You know, it's just it was my opinion, my list.
That was one of those. My parents watched that movie with me so many damn times. I don't feel sorry for him though, because that's a great movie.
Love stumping y'all on a few. Yeah, Doug definitely went into left field and pulled out a few movies that were like, huh? But hey, Casey knew them, so that's all that mattered. We had a guy who knew. So it was good.
I was actually kind of stunned that you hadn't seen Kelly's Heroes, to be honest.
Oh,
that
for
was
last night.
I considered that a classic.
Yeah, I had not seen that one yet.
It's I couldn't even tell you what year it was, but it was Clint Eastwood, Don Rickles, Telly Savalas, Donald Sutherland.
I was going to say, I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan. I'm shocked that I hadn't seen it. Or maybe
it's World War II, except it's actually a heist movie.
Huh. Well, it's interesting. That's for sure. Very much so.
And I'm going to throw actually a book in the chat, the private chat, but I highly recommend. If you're into like World War II, I mean, it's a trilogy, but the guy won a Pulitzer for the first book. So, I mean, that
says something.
Well, yeah, that says it all right there. 100%. So, what do you think about Carson Wentz? All of a sudden now, whoops, 3 months, I'm out.
No, I love it. I love it because you know what? Carson Wentz just went from 6 weeks of rest followed by a 12-week surgery to just a 12-week surgery. So we know what we're getting. I love it.
You know who's happy about him being hurt? The
Jacob
Colts
Eason.
receivers. They're like, you know who's not happy? The other team cornerback.
Looks like Philly won that trade though, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Is there a chance that they may have known there might have been an issue with the foot that could arise, and then that's why they went ahead and traded him away? I mean, without actually saying something about it, because teams are known to possibly do that. There might be a lingering injury. Oh, we'll drop him off on somebody else. Let them worry about it.
Well, if so, then that's on Indy for not
Well, I think
doing
time
a
will
medical.
No, because the OTAs he was there and
I
he
was
was
gonna
fine.
say
Yeah.
time will tell on that, especially with the whole Brady thing and them knowing that he had issues.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think he was there for OTAs and past physicals and everything else. So I'm going to say no.
My question about Carson Wentz, and I'm going to turn this into a fantasy football discussion. Number
That's
one,
okay.
was anybody actually thinking about drafting him when he was healthy? Quote, unquote, healthy.
Suds
Number
is not
two,
here to answer.
Does this make him completely undraftable?
Suds would be the one to do it.
He was undraftable even when he was healthy to me.
Like, I don't even
know. I probably would. I probably would week 4 after all my players get fucking hurt if they don't get to do it.
My thing is it would be a situation to where I don't even know if I'd want him as my bye week quarterback just to fill in when the other quarterbacks have a bye, to be honest with you. Granted, he's got the weapons in Indy and everything, but he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy.
I mean, that is a big one, but I mean, right now, this whole wonderful rumor thing that all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, well, Nick Foles is sitting there going, hey, I'm ready to be traded. Who says the Colts want you, dude? They drafted Jacob Eason last year so he can come in and take the reins.
And believe me, I know you for a fact, George, are like me. We have a stack of cards sitting around of Jacob Eason that we wanted to get some money out of, damn it, so he's got to do something.
Well, I'm sure all the collectors are. And, everybody all of a sudden, you're going to see Eason cards going at $100 a pop where you could have got them 50 cents,
right.
3 months ago. So, no, I'm thinking they drafted Eason for a reason. And if he can't put up and be next man up right now, then he's out. I mean, he's going to be totally out. Right now, they're sitting there going, oh, well, they'll go get a veteran quarterback. Well, do they really need to try to fluctuate and get that right now? Or can Frank Reich work with what he's got? That's what his job is.
Well, who does he have behind Eason?
Hang on a quick second.
I know they wish they still had Jacoby Brisket right now. Still.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
A servable starter.
Ian Rappaport had it up earlier.
With the backup?
What the 3-quarter, because they just drafted 2. Brett Hundley and Sam
Ehlinger.
Right?
Hey, Sam Ehlinger, the quarterback from SMU.
MU in Texas.
Yeah, and this was just pulling up off of ESPN's depth chart. There was another rookie that was listed there.
Jalen Morton.
That's it. So that right there, like I said, I think it is. It's time for Jacob to put up or shut up, and you've got to take the reins and take this team and do what you've got to do. Did the Patriots, after Tom Brady had to step in for Drew Bledsoe, did they have to go shopping for a veteran quarterback? No. They went, we're going to work with this kid and we'll see what he can do. Same thing.
Easy. Eason's not going to be the GOAT, okay?
Hey, I'm just going to use that as an example.
I know.
I mean, I'm sorry, Trent Green went down and some guy named Kurt Warner
came out of nowhere.
Gold jacket. Hello. I mean, yeah. This is the
Former
opportunity.
Iowa barnstormer.
This is.
I'm gonna throw a
this is the
scenario out
opportunity.
here. I'm gonna throw a scenario out here. They're talking about Nick Foles saying he want to go to the Colts. Now, Jacob, I get it with Jacob Eastman, but
If Nick Foles
What if
failed
they-
in Jacksonville and then failed to get the job in Chicago, guess what?
nobody care about Nick Foles.
You are
Yeah.
He don't fail in the Super Bowls.
But like I said, but you had all the coaching staff was together in Philly that it worked. When you break something up like that, it doesn't always work.
Carson
Hello,
Wentz wasn't a
Jen.
diva any goddamn way. According to what everybody in Philly was saying. Anyway,
Yeah. Like
To be
I
fair,
said,
though, I mean,
but it's
Indy is-
Foles can't do it.
right, but Indy's supposed to be that team that's ready, right? They're ready right now. And we've had the discussion before. Carson Wentz is apparently the guy. I disagreed then, but now they have no guy. So,
just about to get to my point. So again, Nick Foles talking about he want to get traded. We ain't even talking about Nick Foles. What if they give a call to San Francisco? But I think Wentz still got that big contract though, don't he?
Mhm.
That big contract still attached. Is it, how many more years he got on that?
Can't move him.
He got 3 more years.
Yeah, can't move him.
Okay, never mind that.
Yeah.
I thought I said it was like final year. I was like, what if they make a call for Jimmy Garoppolo? But we
No.
all know Trey Lance eventually is going to be the guy there.
And,
yeah.
and the funny thing is rumors are coming out that Trey Lance is outperforming somebody right now. And is working.
Much to the
with
dismay of
Lance.
George.
Yes, to my dismay. It's like, and the worst part about it, I just got. That's what I get for getting a Jimmy G jersey last year. That's what I deserve.
I'm starting to notice a trend. Maybe you should just stop talking shit about quarterbacks. Because the more you talk shit about Baker, the better he did. The more you talk shit about Trey Lance, the better he's looking. But actually, no, keep talking shit about Baker because we want him to do better.
can you start talking shit about Jared Goff?
No, no, no.
Come on,
sorry.
help a brother out.
It doesn't quite work that way. It doesn't quite work that way. Oh man.
Well, I mean, if we can keep going down the injury list because there was things today.
Shoot.
Brown
Devontae Smith out 2 to 3 weeks.
sprained MCL, right?
Yep, his MCL. So now you got your Heisman winner who's now missing 2 to 3 weeks of camp.
How's he hurting his leg? That little dude, he's so goddamn tiny, he shouldn't have any issues.
I don't know.
Was he like 5'9" or 5'8"?
Maybe he made a cut that was actually like a 360 when he did it. But I mean,
I know the Browns lost Walker. They don't know how severe his injury is, the linebacker that they got from the Colts.
Oh no.
Yeah, they said it was a knee injury, but they don't know the severity of it just yet. So there goes your signal caller out of the linebacking core.
you got Julio Jones left practice early. Don't know exactly what that was because coach said he wasn't concerned. So
Yeah.
it could be he pulled something. It could just be, okay, something didn't feel right, so let's give you a day off. Who knows? Marquise Brown, Hollywood, out with a hammy.
He probably wasn't the number one anyway.
Yeah, so Brown estimated return looks like the 14th, so week and a half, almost 2 weeks. It's just wide receivers dropping like flies.
And
Yeah.
Shrods, welcome in.
Do you think
What's up, guys?
a lot of that's just because they
What's up, man?
kind of went light last season?
I think it's early training camp, so it happens.
Greatest football team of all time.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Mick. That's ugly.
Just rhetorical.
Yeah. That's definitely rhetorical. It is kind of difficult to really you literally greatest football team of all time because it went into eras and different phases and dynasties. I mean, how can you just try to crown one specific team? That is
See?
very difficult.
This would be the perfect time to do a top 10 list for the era of this, with top 10 of this era, top 10 of this era, and so on.
So you're ready to do that on
Can it
Sunday?
be like obscure teams though?
Hey,
So,
whatever. As long as we don't go too far back.
Clint, see, we're good for Sunday already.
I was gonna say, can we do
Huh?
the obscure teams like the
I'm
obscure
sorry.
teams?
I'm trying to find out something about Anthony
Yeah,
Walker,
they're
man, because I don't
athletic.
want Mac Wilson as our starting linebacker again.
What were you saying, Sean?
Okay, they said he appeared to be
I
cramping,
said, can we
so
do
it's nothing
obscure
serious.
teams? God damn you!
All right, sign guy. You know what? Fuck off. I'm not a guest, bitch. Oh,
Yeah,
he
I'm
said, why
sorry,
would they have
Jim.
me
Yeah,
as...
he's not a guest.
Jim, I was gonna say Jim must have missed the intro. Adam is a infinite
Hang on.
panelist.
Hang on. He's not a guest. He just shows up.
Thanks, Zolt. I thought we were better than that.
Wow. Damn.
Shots
I
fired.
feel the love.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey.
He's just here to train the new guy.
As far as I'm aware now, we are competitors. So that's a whole new ball game, from my understanding.
Well, you still have a few weeks before that's like technically all official. You have till the 14th.
No.
You're still buddies until the 14th. Then it's on like Donkey Kong.
We're still buddies until the first L shows up.
Sliding over into Zolt's lane real fast. This was interesting.
Yeah. Obviously, that's going to be an investigation.
This is ugly.
Yeah, and it's not just that he bet on NHL games; he bet on his own games.
Yeah,
That's bad.
This is extremely ugly, and I mean to the point
His
that
wife, though? Why is
his
wife
wife-
him out?
well, he and his wife are separated, and she's utilizing leverage with the daughter against him and things like that. So, it's a cluster bomb. It is an ugly, ugly cluster bomb. So, needless to say, whoops.
That sound more like she ain't getting none of that money. He's smart. He made her sign that prenup probably.
Ah, shit.
Well, I mean, it's funny. You said we were going to my lane. I thought you were going to actually try to discuss NHL free agency, and I was going to give my impression of NHL free agency, which was
I thought the criminals were my lane.
Right. Well,
When you said his lane, I'm like, wait, you're going in that way? But that was me. I was going to start my own NHL penal league. He was going to be my first draft pick.
I was going to say, you got your first draft pick right there.
I think
I'm sure with the DUIs and drug issues, I can find a lot more.
Bobby Probert's got to be the #1 draft pick.
Yeah, he's a
got
starting
the
lineup for sure. When your ass gets kicked out of the country,
Exactly.
probably become #1 draft pick.
Well, the thing about this is, though, it's not like he's the starting center or forward or even the goalie. He's a defenseman who plays 20 minutes a game.
Yeah, but in those 20 minutes, you let in 3 goals.
No, he's not the goalie.
If you let your player have a free shot at your goalie, you change the game. I mean, Pete Rose, he's just one player. He's got four at-bats. I mean, this dude could easily have just let somebody skate past him, let a puck go by him, let the player get a free run at the goalie. There's all kinds of ways a defensive player can do that.
Okay. Now, like I said, being that he's not like a top guy, it's kind of rough. But I mean, you still got to play the part.
Let me at least read the quote,
Sure.
just so that we can see how bad this is. So Anna Kane explicitly says, "How does the NHL let a compulsive gambling addict still play when he's obviously throwing games to win money?" That's the guy's wife.
And like I said, and they're
Ouch.
separated.
Yeah, you got to take what she's saying with a grain of salt. You're only going to give me what? How much money? Oh, wait, watch this tweet. You got to take it with a little bit of grain of salt. There needs to be some proof. I mean, yes, clearly he has a gambling problem. He does, clearly. Las Vegas has sued his ass for not paying his debt.
Right.
So he definitely has a gambling problem. We're having
a lot of noise behind you, so.
Well, because he's trying to dodge my youngest because he doesn't want to go to bed.
Get your dog in check. I can still mute his ass. Hey. And that's like, oh, it's worse. He froze. Look at that. Hey. Priceless. Priceless.
Well, we got a little break here. I want to give a shout out to the U.S. men's national team. Back-to-back cups against Mexico. North American champions. It's the first time, basically, in the history of soccer, the U.S. has beat Mexico in back-to-back finals in over 100 years. So, huge win yesterday for the men's team, and unfortunately, I don't know if you guys were talking Olympics or not, but women's team got knocked out. So, I just wanted to give a quick shout out there for the men's team and a bunch of younger guys too. I mean, it was like their C team went up against Mexico's A team, so huge win there.
Yes,
I haven't watched a single second of the Olympics.
Well, I've got on the DVR archery because Bryce is a big archer, so of course he wants to watch all the archery stuff. And I did catch some weird canoeing.
Watch the women's. Watch the women's powerlifting 76 kilo division and watch the chick from South Korea drop the bar on her face.
Well, I'm sure George will be looking that up right now.
That sounds horrifying. Which team was that?
And of all sports to not get a shoot Korea. I'm just disappointed that in all the sports that they have there, the U.S. men's skateboard team couldn't place gold.
Man, his medal count close.
Oh, and my neighbors are starting to fight.
Oh, that's the 2012. Okay. No, I was going to say I found the South Korean snapped his arm backwards. The elbow snaps trying to lift 370 or 357. I don't see anything. Don't see anything. Whoa. No. Not on it.
Gonna get my shot put on. Hold on.
No problem.
I'm big.
No problem. Zolt, I did not. I was going to say, Doug's not on. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Kaufman is not on the show tonight.
That's outside my house.
I was going to say, where in the blue hell is that?
It's a fire truck.
All right. was gonna say anything goes tonight. I guess it's free for all. It literally is free for all. Holy Jesus! All right. Yeah. So. Oh, wow. I deserve that one. Oh man. So yeah, Zolt. I didn't see any much more of the free agency with the NHL. What else?
50 million people change teams. I cannot tell you who is where. That is the end result of NHL free agency.
$500 million in cap space changed.
Yes.
Wow. That is.
I looked at the NHL free agent list, and what I decided at the end of the list was I need to start focusing on fantasy football.
Damn. Well, I did notice about. I was definitely saving. I'm saving one of them for the what the. But Cleveland is spending some money.
Yeah, what the hell? I saw that.
In the NBA. Cha-ching?
Is this dude is he even that good?
We don't have Suds, so I don't know.
Let me say this about Jared. I see him play. He can be the star. He can be a centerpiece to this team. He's on like 24.
But isn't Mobley the center too, or is he a forward?
Mobley can play forward.
Okay.
All right.
Him and Garland have this nice pick and roll connection. They can be a poor man, John Stockton, Karl Malone. I'm just saying that because they neither one of them going to touch John Stockton or Karl Malone.
Is Rubio still pretty decent from what I know? I mean, he used to be. I don't know.
Basically there to be a mentor to Garland, basically. Okay. He probably will wind up getting traded at the trade deadline to a contender.
We don't do that here in Cleveland.
No, not at all.
And as for Kevin Love, he's still here, but I just think they just need to buy him out.
Buy out Kevin Love?
Yeah, because you're not going to get another team to work with you on that.
He ain't got no trade value.
That contract's too big.
He has no value, unfortunately.
Okay.
No,
don't play no more.
Outside of that, I know that in baseball there was
money.
The ultimate fire sale.
Adam,
where's my beer?
At the store.
At the store.
Yeah, baseball's becoming a joke. I mean, when you look at that's just one sport that needs a salary cap. I mean, you got the freaking Dodgers that have a $300 million payroll, and freaking a team that
hell did they get Max Scherzer and Trey Turner? Like, what the hell?
There were two teams that went through a fire sale: Washington and Chicago. The Cubs. I mean, those teams are basically AAA teams at this point.
I felt bad for Chris Bryant, man. My man was crying when he found out he got traded.
There's not a real difference between that and the NBA. They play the luxury tax instead of being a hard cap like the NFL. They do a luxury cap. Shit, the Lakers just got 3 players worth over a grand total of $400 million between the 3 of them.
Yeah, I think yearly it's like $120 million or something like that per year between 3 guys.
My thing is with the Dodgers, though, if Trevor Bauer didn't have his off-field issues, would they have even made that trade?
Honestly, I think they would.
I just think they're going all in for another year or two, and then I mean they can't pay that. I mean, I guess the owners. I mean, these guys are billionaires, so to them, $100 million is chump change. But at the same time, I mean, the Yankees did it, the Sox did it. LA's doing it now, and I mean, they all had their time. They all bought championships, and I think that's part of the reason why, when you look at viewership, baseball just continues to decline. I mean, there's no competitiveness in the sport. These days it's crazy. So
We're starting to see that in almost all the sports, though. NBA, you're down to three. You're 3 or 4 teams that are viable. I mean, Phoenix really they got extremely lucky this year to be able to get to where they were going. But I mean, you got LA, and you got
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn,
LA, New
and
York.
yeah, and Miami's trying to dip their toes in it right now. Uh, they want to get DeRozan down there. They got Butler down there. They want to get. They're looking for a sign and trade with
They just signed
the.
Kyle Lowry is joining the
Right.
Heat, and they're keeping Duncan Robinson. Looks like
Yep.
5-year, $90 million deal.
$90 million.
It's a sign. It's a sign and trade with Toronto for that young man. But
That boy, that boy.
LeBron is the king of.
215.
LeBron is the king of destroying franchises, though. He is. I don't know what they have left that in the bank. Are they ever? When's the next time they have a draft pick? Jesus Christ! They gave up 3 or 4 players for Westbrook. They gave up multiple draft picks for Anthony Davis. I don't know when LeBron says, "You know what? I'm going to take my talent somewhere else."
Well,
Where?
If you look at teams like, I think it's a bit different. If you look at a team like Cleveland, I agree with you 100%. Like, he drove that team into the ground after he left. But when you look at a team like Miami or LA, it's all about market in the NBA. And there's 3 teams or 3 cities, technically, not teams, that players want to go to: LA, Miami, and New York. So I agree with you 100% with Cleveland. Miami, the reason why they were able to recover so much, even after he left, was purely the fact that players want to play there. It's a high
Nice
ticket,
weather.
high city. You can make a shit ton of money there.
Yeah.
No state taxes.
Yeah. Yep.
You're good.
Whereas, I mean, I hate to say it, guys, but versus a Cleveland, or hey, I'm from Detroit versus a Detroit, where it's just not a market. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like right now, even with Cade, the Pistons drafting Cade, like, yeah, he's a number 1 pick. And Jim, I see your question in the comments. I think with the way the NBA is shaping up, these days, I don't think a big draft. I mean, unless you get another LeBron type player first overall, I just don't see how teams these days can build through the draft. I mean, the NBA is exactly like Star-Lord said over here. The NBA is pretty much become a 3-city, and maybe you'll get lucky every once in a while if there's a bunch of injuries, but a 3-city league.
Phoenix got lucky. They got their point guard. I mean, he's kind of on his last legs, but they pulled him off because nobody else wanted to pay that huge contract.
He declined.
They got
Phoenix got lucky because the Lakers and the Clippers were freaking.
They also had Booker.
Dead.
They drafted Booker. They also got that center. They drafted the center. And then they got what's his oh my God, I can't remember his freaking name. The point guard.
If the Lakers were healthy and the Clippers were healthy, Kawhi didn't get injured, did the Suns make the finals?
If the Lakers were healthy, I think they do. I think they could beat the Lakers with just the 2 of them. I don't think they beat the Clippers though.
Yeah, so that's where I think. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I don't see the Suns making. I mean, it took almost a catastrophic postseason and COVID, and like teams just completely collapsing to.
I don't think COVID had anything to do with this season, though.
No, not this one. I'm talking more like last year with some of the
that was the advantage of the Lakers, though. They got to rest everybody up into the playoffs for months, and that's how they pulled it off. Anthony Davis is a China doll. He breaks at the first strong wind. He is yet, from the time he entered college to right now, has yet to make a full season where he didn't go out for months for injuries. And we're talking somebody who's 22 24, and you can't in 5, 6 years, you can't make it one season without being injured. That's a China doll right there. That's what's his name from Ohio State? Odom. Greg Odom. That's Greg Odom all over again with more talent.
Well, Lonzo turned around and went with the Bulls for what, 85 mil? If I saw that one.
They got in there. Hold on. Somebody had to go street outlaw on us for a second. They got him ranked as the third best.
That's that Fairlawn drag strip.
The third best point guard stat-wise in the NBA last year. That's what he was standing allegedly. But
all right.
I think it's a joke. That Ball brother happens to be a joke. The other one's legit though. The youngest.
Mello.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody thought. Honestly, I thought Melo would be the. I think everybody thought Melo would be the best out of the Ball brothers. His game is way more balanced. He just need to learn how to play more team ball, which he's learning this year. And it helped when you got Michael Jordan grilling you all the goddamn time.
Well,
so.
Well, let's now flipping back over to the NFL. Mr. Chubb got paid.
City discount, team discount, whatever you want to call it. It seems too. I think he could have got paid way more.
I love the contract. I mean, 3 years, 36. You ain't overpaid like Dallas did with Zeke or they did with Gurley. By the time the
$20 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Right, and
when the contract ends, he'll be 29. So, like, if he do start to show wear and tear, then
or if
I don't
he
think
does
he will
better.
because of Kareem Hunt. So
right, if he does better, and I think that's what Cleveland's looking at doing, and we brought it up before. You turn around and have a good tandem in the backfield. One, your quarterback's going to stay upright. He's going to make some money. The running back's
got to pay Wyatt Teller next.
Receivers are going to make some money. Everybody's going to make some money.
You got to pay Wyatt Teller next.
So I don't think that's a bad thing. Not by a long shot.
I think with keeping the two running backs in the backfield like that, you could also turn around and maybe let some people go that probably need to be let go. Odell. Mr. Beckham can say goodbye.
We'll have to. It's a wait and see ordeal, unfortunately, at the moment. Kind of like the Minnesota Vikings, who are still practicing without quarterbacks because nobody wants to get a COVID shot. So
they signed somebody.
Oh,
some
did
random
they?
guy. Yes, they signed some random guy this afternoon.
Did they
I
really?
couldn't tell you.
So somebody stood in. Actually, somebody's is in, huh?
Where'd they find him? The local Kroger?
I was just gonna say, what grocery store?
Hey, that could be the next Kurt Warner. Thank you.
Kurt Warner did it. Okay.
Slow down. Kirk Cousins could be saying goodbye. Here comes Kurt Warner Jr.
Kirk Cousins should have been.
Case Cookus.
I was waiting for a Wild Aces joke, but it didn't come.
Actually, sorry, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I let that one slip. I didn't think about that.
Rats. So
Damn, we got the owner of the team. We could have say, hey, don't.
So this guy,
Case Cook. That's a good name. That's a name right there.
That is a name. So
that's a sports name there.
Gonna cook your ass.
That one I have to
His
type
name
into
is
Pro
perfect
Football
for if he
Reference.
start and they lose the game on the last second because of a dumb play he made. Yeah, Casey cooked us, bro. Yeah. Here's your walking papers. Bye bye.
You know the guy's a quality quarterback when he doesn't have a page on Pro Football Reference.
No.
Let's be honest. When everybody clears up, he won't be there.
Yeah.
No, he is definitely getting that paycheck.
Possibly practice squad guy.
I was going to say. I mean,
Hell, I think any one of us would take the practice squad paycheck right about now, just to do, just whatever the fuck they do. You know what I mean?
I'll be a tackling dummy.
Oh no, they hit way too hard. I'm only if you can guarantee me they only hit me once.
For $500,000.
If
$500,000 a year,
hit me once, if they only can hit me once, I'll do it. But I'm not going through the entire preseason being someone's bitch.
No, you get hit once, you grab your knee, you say it's your
Tweaked
your
it.
XCL or whatever, and you get an injury settlement.
this is for all you Cleveland guys. I recommend it for George. This is your all-pro defensive lineman. Oh, what is this?
sure, stupid ads.
Commercial,
Damn
not a
commercial.
sponsor.
I just wanted to get you Cleveland guys pumped up for your season and
Gotta
your
get that.
dominant
Gotta get that YouTube dress.
offensive lineman.
Yeah, everybody needs
Just
their
getting
money.
ramped up in preseason.
So that's Clowney. Wow, the timing.
I'm surprised he didn't tear his ACL.
Right. Perfect.
But if you
Mid-season
look hard
form.
enough, we'll find Lion players doing the same thing.
The bad thing about that is
These
he's
players
going
get
to trip.
paid like Clowney.
Clowney's going to get a sack like that against the Lions, and then we can talk
I
shit
was
then.
just going to say, waiting for that guy to get the sack on golf. We're going to go, hey, we've seen this before.
I really like the fact that you actually think Clowney's going to have to go through defenders.
Yeah, I was just going to say, who's he tripping over?
No, that's the problem. They fall over themselves, and he's going to trip over them because they fell.
Oh, that's true.
I'm waiting to see if there's going to be any wagers for that game eventually. I know it's still early yet.
I mean, the only thing is the only
Is Durkin going to be here anytime soon? Because that's the
What?
only bet you're getting a Lions bet out of.
I was going to say,
Oh,
you better
Durkin.
be spotting some points.
now Stafford's gone, so Durkin doesn't like the Lions anymore. They lost the best quarterback in the history of football.
Did he get his
Hey.
Rams jersey yet?
Y'all still got the one dude that played with the fractured throat. It should be motivation for you. Damn it.
That's true. That's true.
That's right.
I don't care what nobody say.
If
That man
Clowney
played with a
falls like
fractured
that
throat.
again, we'll have another person with a fractured throat.
Play with a fractured throat.
He
You know,
falling on his
you know how
face.
hard it is to call plays with a fractured throat?
That's the craziest part. You're right. He was the center too.
Sign guy hasn't watched the show much to see that this ain't nothing. This is mild.
I was going to say, this is
Yeah.
mild.
Yeah, we're
Absolutely.
They
behaving
start talking about
ourselves.
Andy Dalton yet.
You clearly
Right.
watched the show.
Hey,
Well,
but
He's,
He can,
anybody that's
he can go
watched the
somewhere with
Lions
that
before,
Pittsburgh Steelers talk too, because I know he's
anybody that's
oh,
paid attention to the Lions, you tell me if this little headline rings a bell at all, if you've ever heard this before. This is from today. Matt Stafford waxed thumb on helmet.
Out for 3 games, bitch.
he was pulled from practice today.
Thanks for the draft picks, assholes.
They don't think it's going to be an issue until it happens again.
That's the thing. I mean, I think as a Lions fan, the thing I'm most excited to see this year is how bad the Rams do. I could care less about the Lions.
Yeah, we'll be like, that's why we got rid of him.
Watch
And
that
we
ball.
took your
Cam
life
Akers
from
was-
you.
Cam Akers was just the start.
Oh yeah, roll Tide.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I don't know what happened to that autographed Cam Akers card, but I'm glad I ended up selling it at some point.
Oh, God.
It's
Wait
okay.
until he gets hit in the back.
Oh,
Oh, my back. Oh, 6 games.
Let's never
damn.
go over there and be a Pro Bowler.
He might be, but the chances are more likely that I'm right than I'm not.
Okay.
Hey, I don't watch a lot of Detroit Lions games. I don't really know much about
Neither
Matthew Stafford.
do people here in Michigan. Don't worry about it.
You have good taste,
Well,
Clint.
we have no choice. We get forced to watch them on Thanksgiving.
No, we don't get forced.
Hey, when I watch the Lions, they always win
David
because I
Ball
only
last year on
watch the first
Thanksgiving.
half. Did you?
I will say this for all of the Matt Stafford gets injured a lot. He's missed a grand total of 8 games since 2011. So
Okay,
he
now
doesn't
tell me
really
how
get
many
injured.
times he's been hurt and played through the pain.
Well, yeah, he's a football player.
Yeah,
They all play hurt.
and yeah, they do. They all play badly when they're hurt.
If they're
He
in
does.
Detroit,
He does. That's exactly right. He plays badly when he's hurt.
Leave that up so we don't got to see his ugly mug.
Yeah, that little banner is pretty big.
I'll sit up, bitch. I don't care. Tom Brady was injured and he won the damn Super Bowl.
he's closer to the mic now. I don't like it.
The mic's always in the same spot.
That's what she said.
Help. I always hit that spot too.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa, hey,
Next
hey.
topic.
It's not after 9 o'clock yet. That's a violation.
Let me ask you guys this. I know it's still on the football topic, but it goes to the college level.
Yeah.
What is this deal about kids are skipping their senior season or senior year of high school to go to the fucking college level? Like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, that's your OSU quarterback.
Yeah.
So the Ohio State, the kid's the number 1 high school recruit. He's a quarterback, and he only has one.
Right. He only has to take an English credit, which will only be half of a semester. So that's all he needs to graduate. Something similar, ironically, because when he moved prior, and it's like different school systems have different scales as far as points go. I'm actually a perfect example. Down here, had to have 9 points and credits going on through each year from my high school level. When I got up to Michigan, it was only 6 per year. So I had actually already earned enough. Halfway through my junior year, I could have graduated high school. But I still needed 1 more English and 1 more, I think I needed government. And those were the only 2 credits I needed. I mean, I had almost 36, and it was like, okay, no big deal. So it all depends on a point system like that. But yes, he's able to literally graduate early, which it's made bigger news because he is a prospect. But this actually does happen quite a bit. There's a lot of kids who are done their junior year into that half semester senior year, and then go on to do college, or are actually even taking the college courses at the same time. They actually, when they graduate high school, they actually graduate college at the same time and have an associate's degree. It's actually not uncommon.
A lot of kids end up trying to do that and get into spring ball. They get into the second half of the year and then get into spring ball. They graduate a little early.
I mean, no offense. My thing is granted, we don't have these issues up in Michigan, with khaki pants and the error of his ways, but Ohio State's got like fucking 7 fucking quarterbacks. Like, there's only 1 ball and 1 guy that can play quarterback. Like, how the hell are you going to finagle that shit?
They pick the best one.
This kid's
and then
number 1.
Everybody else goes the other direction. They go different.
I mean, I say somebody's going to end up having to leave eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, when they keep signing number 1 top players, and I mean, Alabama does the same thing. They got freaking 6 running backs that are 5-star recruits. They find a way to get them the ball, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you look at Ohio State the one year, they went through 3 quarterbacks that were, I mean, they all did pretty damn good. So, and if they transfer, they transfer. To them, it's It's like losing
Next man
freaking
up.
third string. Exactly.
And I think George was about to say the exact same thing I was. It looks really damn good if you're transferring to a school and you're transferring from Ohio State. It means you were a good enough recruit to go there.
And Burrow is a perfect example of that.
Right.
Joe Burrow is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. The biggest thing with this kid, though, is the NIL law, name, image, and likeness. That's why he's doing it. He's actually taking an online class right now. It's the last credit he needs so that he can enroll. He's basically going to skip his entire senior year, so not just the spring, but he's trying to enroll early, so he won't even be eligible to play. But he'll basically be enrolled at Ohio State, so he can start collecting on the name, image, and likeness stuff a year before he even frickin' plays.
And I don't think it will be the last kid to do it either. It won't be. This thing is going to trickle down, and it's going to, and that's kind of the sad thing is everybody, even like right now with 10 to 12-year-olds, it's like their body development and everything. Even 17 through 19, you still have a whole nother development level to get through just to adapt into college, let alone try to adapt into NFL, because if you're only going to turn around and play the 3-year stint, that's a lot to really push. Because if we look at it right now, he'd probably be able to push right into being 21, and all of a sudden, boom, he'd be one of the NFL's first drafted kids. Really? It'd be kind of scary.
All right, so moving up to the next topic we could talk about for this. What the hell is this super conference going to be in, and how many damn teams are going to the SEC?
I was going to say that might be an after the break conversation, because that's a long conversation.
Yeah. I was going to say, why? Yeah,
good segue, Zolt.
Yeah, that's a great setup and a great idea. Put it around and take 245 and kick the commercials in. And no, I had not gotten to update it just yet, Adam. Then by next Monday, it will be.
Hey, you got all the pictures now, so it's legit.
Yep, I got them all. Like I said, I also have to come up with a new Zolt stat too.
I was walking around with my hound one day. She come along with a poodle and it started to play. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, ooh, hot dog. I said, honey, all purpose of drawing attention. She said, come on inside, I'll show you the whole collection. Hot dog. Hot dog, hot dog, ooh, hot dog. Oh, hot dog. So I'm playing strip poker with this woman, child. She dealt me 3 of a kind, and every one of them wild. Hot dog, hot dog. Hot dog, ooh, hot dog. She said, let's spin the bottle, and we spun it mightily. When the spunner got to spinning, it was pointed at me. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. I think I'm getting lucky. Hot dog, I might be getting me some. She had an infomaniac sister. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog, ooh, hot dog. We went out for ice cream, and I said, honey, I'm down to my stick. She said, my mouth is so dry, I wish I had something to lick. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. Hot dog, oh, hot dog, ooh, hot dog, hot dog. I might be getting lucky. It's hot.
we're back. Well, some of us anyway. Some of us are back. Sean said, I'm hitting the AC. I'm in the car, man. Screw this.
Dude, my phone started to die on me. And
So,
I like that Guardian shirt, huh?
That is a nice shirt.
too bad it
Like,
ain't sticking around.
I buy one
It'll
just
stick
because
around.
I like the design.
Oh, they
Yeah.
will. They will.
If you had not seen that article, the first use, not the first to file, as far as
Doesn't
trademarks. It looks like the roller derby is definitely saying no, they are not taking a buyout.
Yes, they will.
So
Nobody
You are in
cares
the
about.
you are in
They
NFL
will.
team.
They-
They will
listen.
take a buyout.
The only people attending those games are the people that drove with the roller derby people. Like, they're not drawing a fucking crowd. Dolan will cut them a check. They'll have new skates for the next season.
Yeah. And 15 minutes of fame because
Do you realize what you just said? Dolan cut a check. He don't even do that for fucking free agents
I
or his
was
own
just
players.
exactly. Dolan's not cutting a check because when they turn around, they give him some ridiculous number. Dolan's going to go, nope, we'll just change the damn name again. No shit, Sherlock. Yep. I don't expect it to hang around. Not one bit. Not one stinking bit.
No, the NFL will, or sorry, the MLB will tell them you are not changing it again.
Well,
This is
they
what you
haven't.
picked. This is what you
They
have.
haven't put anything in writing. There's nothing in writing yet. They just have to pay Tom Hanks again for another video. That's all. So, the SEC conversation, I know that Adam wanted to turn around and bring in, but I'm going to just, before we get into that, the old Who's Line show had a segment called Scenes from the Hat, and the guys turned around and did an impersonation of what somebody was thinking or saying. So I thought it'd be interesting to turn around and pull up a couple of our own. And what do you think Aaron Rodgers really said to the Packers brass in that private meeting? Anybody want to take a stab? Suds, you want to take a stab at that one?
Now, listen, you've seen who I date. She's a little high maintenance. I need a little bit more money. She's not a very good actress either. So
How about this? He went in there and said, "We all know you're not starting Love."
he probably went there and said, let's be honest. Between you and me, yeah, you have nobody in this. None of the fans like you right now. So just give me what I want. By the way, 17, yeah, he's leaving with me next year too.
Next one up.
Aaron, bitch. By the way, I said that he left out the door.
Next one up. What Jason Eason is texting Nick Foles right now?
shut the fuck up. That's exactly what he's saying.
Next.
Stay in your motherfucking lane.
That was
That's
good.
it.
We don't need to. Yeah, next one.
Stay
What
home and get your
Cubs
AARP
fans-
card.
What Cubs fans are trying to tell their ownership right now on social media?
We ain't Cleveland.
Oh,
It's I don't know. It's weird. We tried to find out, but we couldn't find any Cubs fans. But we found White Sox fans everywhere.
those are former Cubs
This better
fans.
not take another 108 years.
Yep. What Juan Soto is thinking after Trey Turner and Max Scherzer were traded.
Only have 2 more years.
See, this game's easy. This game is easy. All right, last one. What Steph Curry's thinking of purchasing next after getting another $250 million.
Anything he fucking wants.
The Golden State
So what
Warriors.
he's think? What exactly is he
The
thinking about?
Detroit Pistons.
I mean, I'd be okay.
Actually, that might not be too far off.
How about a new putter for his game show?
Whatever Aisha wants.
Suds, I got that one. Suds. That was good.
I wonder if anybody else realized he owns his own game show.
Do anybody watch it?
Yes, we do.
Does he?
Don't say
We
we.
do. Yep.
I don't.
The family does. We do. The hole-in-one show. Yep, we do.
It's Wipeout meets putt-putt.
Yep. And believe me, it's a great drinking, watching show.
Because you have
I
to
might watch it
drink
while
to
I'm
watch
drinking.
it.
He said drinking. I might watch it while drinking.
Yes. It's an awesome show to be doing both.
A shot every time Curry does the little shimmer he does.
Curry's not on the
No,
show.
Curry's not on it. It's what the other golfers do.
Oh.
Anytime they fall in the water, screw up the putt. Oh yeah.
Have you seen Wipeout, the television show?
I said
Okay.
Wipeout. I don't watch the remake with John Cena.
Listen,
No.
take all the obstacles and then put it on a putt-putt course,
Yep.
and you have hole-in-one.
And it's all
It's
based
holy
over,
moly, isn't it?
it's based around this giant. All the course is like laid out over this humongous swimming pool, and I do mean the biggest damn swimming pool on the planet. And they film this thing between 2 and 5 a.m. in the morning, so the water's just a little extra cold. Yeah, it's very entertaining. They film it totally at night. You sit there and wonder, who thought of this shit?
Curry.
No, Curry's just like the sponsor.
Why would he? He was desperate. He needed a television show.
Well, he needed something.
LeBron couldn't get him into.
LeBron had one.
LeBron couldn't get him into Space Jam 2, so he had to go out and get his own show.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He did Space Jam 2 in like 3 months. Curry's been on this trick for 3 seasons already.
He got
All
a
right,
show
anyway.
LeBron got one because LeBron got one called The Wall, like the executive producer of.
Oh, the barbershop thing?
No, he got a show called The Wall. It's called The Wall. People win
Never.
money.
He's an executive
He's the producer of the show.
I know what he's talking about.
By name, you throw some money in a game show and you get your name put in that spot.
Curry does commercials for these
You can
people.
ask Kaufman on how executive producer.
If we want to go that route, hell, Wade better than all of them because he actually on his show.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but have you
Oh,
seen
he
that?
helped his
show?
contestants,
Curry-
and he helped his
Curry-
contestants win too.
Curry's like on
It's
it,
a-
but he's like not on.
He's not on it like Wade though. Wade's literally like physically like. on
Yeah, the
show,
Cube.
Like,
That's a god awful show. I've tried to watch that.
I haven't seen it.
I tried.
It's on TBS, ain't it?
I don't know. I was.
Do
I,
TBS game shows really be successful?
No.
Enough said.
I tried real hard. It was difficult.
That's what she said. Anyways,
At least I try.
back to the SEC conversation. We did tag it quickly on Friday. So we did have a minor discussion that was a little in depth on what in the blue hell is going on, and especially after today's news. EPs are just people with the money. Exactly. That's exactly it. Who was it today that was also now applying for?
I mean, it was literally just one report that I had seen. I haven't seen anybody else talk about it, so I'm not terribly sure
Yeah,
how true it is. But the report was both Clemson and FSU have approached the SEC about
And
what it would take to join them.
Yeah, and it's funny. A lot of people said that's not true. They said the SEC feels like Clemson and Florida State don't bring enough, like Oklahoma and Texas does.
I
They
don't
said the
buy
only.
that for a second.
I know.
I was gonna say, yeah,
They said
not,
they talking about. They said in terms of streaming service. But
yeah,
they said if the
whatever.
one team that they want to join is Notre Dame, and we all know Notre Dame ain't joining no damn.
Nah, they're going to go down with that NBC ship to the very end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think part of the.
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't
Oh,
you
hell
go
yeah.
down with the chip? Oh, God, Jesus, they monopolize the TV a channel. They're the only ones getting paid for it. Why would you switch now? You run that
Yeah.
contract until it dies.
Completely agree.
yeah, I agree with you too. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think the big thing with Florida State and Clemson, I mean, with Clemson and the SEC, they're freaking too good. And I think the other piece there too is, I mean, you already have South Carolina there. Does that pretty much, does that oversaturate that market? I don't disagree. I mean, there's not a lot of people in the state to begin with. You already have the market there with South Carolina, so potentially where's the value? And the second piece with Florida State, I mean, kind of the same thing. You got Florida that's right there as well, and so I think if you're going to go with those two, I think you just got to, pull in Miami from the ACC, and if they could pull in Notre Dame. I mean, there's your four teams right there. But I don't know. It'll definitely be interesting to see how all of it shapes out. I actually was just reading an article that the NCAA Board of Governors are going to be coming together in November to pretty much completely rewrite their entire manifesto.
Yeah, they don't really have much of a
Constitution.
choice.
Yeah, well, true. With all the legal between NIL and the conferences just running wild, like there ain't going to be there's going to be an SECAA, and that's pretty much it moving forward.
Well,
Yeah,
the thing
I mean-
that gets me is go ahead, adult.
No. You go.
My thing is, it makes it's upsetting to think that okay, you see all these like SECs like going out and getting all these top notch programs, and then the Big Ten's over here talking about we want Kansas and what was it, Kansas and like Oklahoma State or something. It's like seriously, I get the Kansas for basketball, but their football program hasn't been shit. Like you want to hit the home run like the SEC is like. Go out and get like a West Virginia possibly or something because they're a somewhat, decent team. But I mean, what the hell can the Big Ten do team wise to make them be comparable to the SEC, if anything at all?
You partner with the Pac-12.
yeah.
That is literally the
Bring
only thing you
Oregon,
can do.
USC. Yeah, you have to.
You either partner with them or you start poaching and just live with the travel.
And right now, as we're literally, man, he must just know we were talking college. He just knew.
It's going to take him 90 seconds to load first.
I want to just.
We were just saying, you must have known we were just bringing up the SEC and the college football. And your timing is impeccable, sir.
My timing?
Yes, your timing.
No, my Wi-Fi is being a pain in the ass. I'm in the basement. I was working on the trim for the kitchen.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we were just bringing up the SEC conversation that we tapped into a little bit on Friday.
Oh, fuck that.
That's exactly where we're at right now. We just brought it in. And your timing is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
It might be one of the dumbest things ever. It just, you have to at some point. It's power play. You and me and Zolt all agreed on Friday that is 100% a power play. However, at some point you have to put not only the media groups like ESPN in check, but conferences like the SEC in check, because if you don't, the next thing you know, Washington State is going to be in the SEC playing Georgia for the SEC title. And you like I said Friday, to me the conferences should be geographic. The SEC should be the Southeastern Conference. It should be Arkansas and Mississippi and Florida and Louisiana and the Southeastern states. You want to keep the Big Ten to the Midwest. I don't care if you want to include Oklahoma in the Big Ten because it's part of the Panhandle state. Like, it's part of the breadbasket. You can consider that the southern area of the Midwest. I get it, but this is what was it now? Clemson and Florida State are looking to jump
Right.
ship to the SEC. That makes it a 16 or an 18 team conference. You take the two traditional powers out of the ACC. What do you have left? Notre Dame with a partial ACC schedule and not a full affiliation with the ACC. There's nobody there. Georgia Tech every once in a while.
We're pretty much left with Miami football wise. That's about it.
Again, what are you left with in the ACC? When was the last time Miami was really relevant?
Oh, you're 100% right. You're left with nothing. I mean, you could say that pretty much about all the conferences at that point. I mean, you put Clemson and Florida State in the SEC, outside of Ohio State, who would be the last national champion that's not in that conference? I couldn't even tell you. Maybe USC.
Texas would be that
Texas
shit.
is in there.
Wow.
Oklahoma, Texas. I mean, I think it's USC, and I don't even know if that's
USC.
still. Did they strip USC of the championship?
Did USC win one after 05?
I don't think so. No.
So
maybe Miami. I know Miami snuck one in.
No, did you? When they lose to Texas?
05.
05?
Yeah.
No, I think it have been one after that because it mainly been Alabama.
It was LSU, Alabama, Auburn,
Ohio State,
Florida State.
So Texas was 05.
Yeah, USC was 04 and 03.
Yeah.
Texas was 05. Florida was 06. LSU was 07. Was it Bama in 08?
Florida
again in 08. And then Bama was 2009.
So you're talking
Correct.
basically 20 years outside of Ohio State. There wouldn't be a single college championship. I think the biggest thing with the Big Ten, I'm not sure who had brought it up, but the biggest thing with the Big Ten, they're trying to hold their ground and acting all academically smug, which I mean I don't necessarily disagree with, but they're a big play right now, and part of the reason why, if they were even going to consider some of the schools they were looking at, actually had nothing to do with academics. It was all about research grants and money, and I actually found something extremely interesting when you look at a typical college, like their payroll and where all their profits come from. Most people would say, "Oh, it's football. It's athletics. That's where they get a lot of their money." University of Michigan's total payroll through grants and actual science research things was over $1 billion.
Well, they're AAU schools. They're accredited schools.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. When you look at their entire athletic department, it was $100 million. It's like a 10-to-1 research grant. That's where they make all their money. And so that's when the Big Ten's looking
medical field.
Exactly. So
medical
they're
field's huge.
schools that can offer, medical research grants and things like that.
Ohio State's one of the leading countries in the school for medical research.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where yep.
Michigan State's one of the leading schools in the country as far as
they're in agriculture
and engineering. Michigan engineering. The SEC, what the SEC is doing is purely a athletic power play.
Oh, absolutely,
Purely
100%.
an athletic power play. And I can respect what the Big Ten does in adding schools because they're like, okay, yeah, we'll go after you for your football or your basketball, but what's your research department like? To me, I can respect that because you're actually holding up the the whole identity of the student athlete, the actual school. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
we touched on it on Friday. It's like they will only go after AAU schools. Now that does put into play schools we've already talked about: Kansas, Iowa State. It also brings into play at least half the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Kind of why I brought it up.
Well, that's why the Rose Bowl started, was because you would go cross country by train every year, and the Big Ten champion would play the Pac-12 champion. That was how the Rose Bowl started. And I don't. I think you can have an alliance with a conference. I don't necessarily think that Pac-12 schools need to be part of the Big Ten. But if you want to bring in a Kansas or a Kansas State or an Iowa State, go ahead, because you know what? That's Midwest schools. It's a geographic thing.
The problem is, I don't know that just a partnership lets you compete with the SEC. Because let me just throw a number out there to show exactly what we're dealing with here. So there's an estimate that a 16-team SEC with both Texas and Oklahoma in 24-25 is going to bring in $1.3 billion in revenue for one conference.
Look at all their stadiums, though. All their stadiums hold 100,000 plus. How many seats does Indiana hold? 70.
Well, I think a big part of that'll be most of that money will probably come through TV revenue and contracts. That's where they're going to make the biggest amount of money between the SEC network and then all their national televised games. I mean, that's typically where most of the money is going to come from.
But ESPN runs the SEC network.
Yep.
Oh, 100% agreed. That's what I'm saying. That's where the most of their money is going to come from.
And by bringing Texas and Oklahoma, you actually get to reopen that deal and make more money.
Yeah, because now you get the Texas. I mean, they had A&M, but now you get, a deeper, bigger Texas market and up into the Oklahoma area as well. So,
well, and it opens up something else that we haven't even talked about yet. Is the recruiting pools. Texas is one of the biggest areas in the country for wide receivers and quarterbacks.
Absolutely.
You've got Oklahoma. You're opening up larger recruiting areas. Like, I don't see how the NCAA can stand by and watch itself get neutered, because that's what the SEC is doing right now, is they're just playing by their own set of rules. And either the NCAA is going to come down and smack down on them hard, or I can see the NCAA cutting them out entirely.
Well, I think I think right before you got on, we were saying, that's one of the biggest issues right now. The NCAA can't do anything. They basically have given the conferences free run, and legally, there's really not much they can do right now. So November, they're actually the board of governors for the NCAA are going to be meeting in November to pretty much rewrite their bylaws because of everything that's going on right now.
It's not going to come soon enough. You have to do it in September. Like, the football season kicks off in what, 2 weeks?
College, I think
2 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, something like that.
So you are less than a month away from the football season kicking off. So Texas and Oklahoma are going to be in the Big 12 this year. We don't know what it's going to be next year.
I don't know if they could. I don't think they can move the conferences at this point. I think the games are set.
No, they're set. As I said, Texas and Oklahoma are going to be in the Big 12 this year.
So they could turn around and hurry up and rewrite everything and do whatever they need to do, the NCAA, and shut shit down. They have a year.
You better do it too sweet, because if you don't, the SEC is going to hand you your lunch. Like, that's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, the problem we have now is everybody looks at the NCAA as 100% completely toothless. There's nothing there. It's literally an organization designed to help conferences make money. And you now have a conference that is going to be making as much money as the NCAA does. So why does the SEC even need them?
How much money did the basketball tournament bring in
Right.
2019? Does anybody know?
Oh, the March Madness,
The whole tournament from beginning to end.
hundreds of millions of dollars, easily. With the TV contract and all that kind of stuff thrown in there,
They were on what,
it's
six different networks through TV. They were on a TNT, TBS.
So on
Go.
average, the March Madness ticket sales usually bring in about $129.4 million out of the roughly $1 billion in annual revenue.
I mean, okay, but so are you with ticket sales, TV contracts, merchandise, all that stuff? You could say you're maybe approaching $500 million.
Oh, they're over. Didn't you just say over $1 billion? I think Andrew said over $1 billion. Over $1 billion with tickets and TV.
He froze. I didn't hear him.
The NCAA annually makes about $1 billion.
Yeah,
On March Madness.
that's what I got to.
No.
Yes.
On overall and annual revenue.
I'm talking just March Madness.
March Madness and ticket sales from March Madness were 129.4 billion. Or, I'm sorry, million. 129
Okay. Okay, this is what I got. And March Madness, blah, blah, blah. 2019 College Athletics Governing Body earned $1.05 billion in revenue from the tournament, representing more than 90% of its annual revenue.
So the 2019 March Madness brought in $1 billion. You've got a conference that is going to bring you that much, that's going to make that much money on its own. If you don't do something, I don't see how you let that stand.
Well,
Like, I
mean,
get it.
I think
I understand that it's all about making money for the NCAA, but at some point, at some juncture, you have to look at it and go, we're cannibalizing ourselves. And you have to put restrictions in place. Like there has to be something done.
the question is, what can the NCAA do? And honestly, I don't know that we know the answer to that.
I don't think there is one. I think
Probably
you
not a
have to
whole
look at
lot, because if the conference is going to make more than NCAA, then the conference just walk from and do their own thing.
Well,
Unless
no,
you have-
that's where the NCAA goes. Okay, now we are implementing these cost factors to control.
Unless
The NCAA will make sure that things are logged. I mean, it's just like any other rec league. You know, once the city starts seeing that something is, somebody else is making more money than the rec league is, the city usually turns around and comes in and steps in and goes, okay, we're locking you down, and it's now going to cost you XYZ to turn around and keep running here in this city. So NCAA will do something similar.
Then let me.
Unless you turn the conferences into their own separate city states, and have the NCAA is just a loose central organization.
But that's basically what it is now.
But I'm talking give the conferences full autonomy.
Well, here's my thing, and I understand where I understand where George is going and try to lock this down. But let me just throw this out there. What do you
think that meeting is about in November?
But that's the thing. What happens then when the SEC turns around and says, okay, well, as of 2024, 2025, we're leaving?
Where are you going?
To do their own thing.
But guess what? You cannot then. There will be no national championship for you.
They'll do
make
their
their
own
own.
because they have all the teams.
Well, to have all the teams or not, it will then
And you still
become
got
a true cluster. It's still going to be a dysfunctional cluster, is what that will be. And
They
if
move
the, and
every
especially
day.
if the SEC ends up bombing out on it, it will be very ugly.
I think out of that meeting in November, you could see conference team limits come out. You could see a tightening of the restrictions and regulations on teams moving conferences. And I really think you'll end up seeing some sort of regulation that limits the distance that teams can move in conferences. Like West Virginia playing in the Big 12 is ridiculous. You can't.
Yeah.
Aside from, I mean, Maryland isn't a far drive, and New Jersey really isn't a far drive. But most schools in the Big Ten are a 12-hour or less bus ride away from each other. Right?
Yep.
West Virginia's got to fly to every one of their games. Every one of their away games they have to fly to. Because you're flying to Kansas, you're flying to Iowa, you're flying to Texas, you're flying to Oklahoma. You know, that to me, I hate to keep harping on it, but you need to put some sort of regulation in there because you just can't have Washington State in the SEC or fucking West Virginia in the Big 12. Like, you need to put some sort of regulation in there like that.
Well, like I said on Friday, eventually it will be like NFL. You have an AFC and an NFC, and then it will be broken down into smaller conference setup, and that's what you're going to end up with. And it will be, pretty much new geographical areas. The teams from the Big Ten will be Big East, and everything else, whole Midwest. You could say it's going to be West Virginia, Pittsburgh, and they're going to be in the Big Ten. Cincinnati will be in the Big Ten.
Well, I get where I understood where you were going Friday with it, and I get it now. However, there's over 128. There's 128 Division I NCAA football schools. There's 32 NFL teams. To break it down east and west and do divisions like that, and make sure that they play each other fairly is going to be overly complicated.
I was going to say, somebody running on Echo, or is that just Bruiser's delay?
No, I don't know.
Or is it just on my end?
No, it was definitely out there.
Okay. On my end.
No, it was definitely out there.
Yeah, somebody's running it in the background.
Yeah, somebody running in the background.
No, it's whoever. Somebody's still got it going. Somebody's still got it.
Mute us one at a time. Wow, that was huge.
That only helps if we're actually talking while we're trying to figure this out.
It only works if you mute somebody.
Well, usually you're the first one, so go ahead there.
It's not like he hasn't muted me before. Let's do it.
Did I fix it?
I found it.
It's not like he hasn't muted me before. Let's do it.
It's on. It's half hill.
It's
on. See? It's half hill.
Way the fuck up.
Half hill.
Son of a bitch.
Way the fuck up.
Damn it, you cop.
Son of a bitch.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Hang on. That's why we can't have nice things. Yeah, right.
There we go.
Hang on.
He's like, let me try it again.
Well, and then if you also consider this when it comes down to everything, with the SEC trying to kind of take over everything, bringing all these teams in, and now being able to financially pay players one way or another, if they're going to be that dominant and be able to pay players in any way, shape, or form, it could create a monopoly where the top talent ends up only going to the SEC because they're going to financially make more money. And then they're going to have a monopoly on, there'll be a Alabama conference where they're dominating everything.
Suggs brings up an interesting point, and I understand that they are institutions of learning, but at some point, when does the federal government step in if that monopoly happens? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and that's just it.
If you have a conference, let's just say on the extreme liberal end that this all happens and the SEC starts generating $2 to $3 billion a season in football revenue alone. $2 to $3 billion. At what point does the federal government step in and go, you can't do that? Federal government can't do that.
Well, because every school are individuals, and it's not a monopoly, anyways.
Yeah, and plus, even if you wanted to say that the SEC was one, there are other conferences.
There are other conferences, but the Pac-12 is not generating that much a year.
In a monopoly, they don't have to, as long as there's competition.
Yeah.
As long as there's competition.
You get where I'm going.
Yes. What which really needs to boil down is what these young men and women who are about to get paid a lot of money. They better keep their shit straight when it comes down to taxes, because every dime they met, Uncle Sam will be watching.
And that brings in another thing, is that this move by the SEC has so many different spider webs and ramifications from it that you probably are looking at 8 to 10 years down the road for all of it to play out and it to all get settled.
Okay.
Because Chris Webber had to sign. He had to plead and actually have to pay money because of the money they ended up catching him collecting all that $250,000. So that was part of his plea deal. These kids, they're adults. They better watch their pocketbook because
they're adults in age only.
They're adults by the federal government.
They're adults in age only.
By the federal government.
Well, I guarantee you, though, the school is going to step up and say, hey, we'll take care of your taxes. We'll just sit down with you one by one and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, because
that business department is about to make some extra.
An 18-year-old who makes $1 million will be paying $1 million worth of taxes.
Yeah.
They're not. I don't think those kids are going to be making that much.
No, but it is in the school's best interest to make it as easy as possible on those kids.
I agree entirely. I agree.
There are twins playing for a Texas school basketball because they're real big on TikTok. Yeah, their money is going to be in the millions.
But that's from other sources, not from the school.
No, that's what I'm talking about. Outside sources, contracts, commercials, likenesses, video games. They are going to have to pay taxes.
I agree with you, but the amount of money that the schools are now going to be able to pay the athletes isn't as much as people think it might be.
No, I get what you're saying, but when it all comes down to lumping together, if you don't pay your taxes, the federal government doesn't care if you're 18 or 40.
I
You gonna pay it, and you're gonna go to jail if you don't. That's
Yeah, and I
Wesley
still don't
Snipes.
think. I think that players can make money off their name, image, and likeness, but they still haven't passed any laws where the schools can actually like the professionals, like they can't. Players can't sign contracts with the school to make money. They can get scholarships. Now, I think I see where you're going though. In 8 years, 10 years from now, does the SEC find some loophole in some law, and they basically start signing players to to come out
Well,
and
I thought all of the new regulations that came out about being able to make money off your likeness and things like that did change the way that the NCAA did the per diem and did allow players to make money from their jersey at the bookstore, which I get is name and likeness, but that money comes from the school.
yeah, they can still make money off of those things, but I mean, short of, printing out 1 million copies of my jersey and the university buying it, there's
Well,
there's
a
not.
4-star, like right now, a 4-star recruit's not signing $1.5 million deal to go play at Alabama or Tennessee or anything like that. Like,
But there's a sponsor in Miami, the Hurricanes, that's going to pay every single one of the players X amount of money for the season.
Yeah, it's one of the guys
And
from
it's-
UFC that owns a gym, the main gym that a lot of the UFC guys go to.
So
That's
basically, every player is going to get, I think it was like $10,000 just from this guy alone.
that's nothing that cousin Luke down there from Two Live Crew hadn't been doing for decades.
That's what is it? Michael Irvin's snow parties they used to have down at the U.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
like there have been donors and boosters for decades paying athletes at
You're absolutely right, but the difference is
Now it's
over the
legal.
table or under the
Yep.
table. Under the table, you ain't paying taxes. Now it's all coming to light, and your ass is going to have to pay them taxes.
they'll still find a way around it somehow. Not all of it, but some of it they'll find
Also-
a way around it.
Also,
Well-
keep in mind that the rules against paying players are NCAA rules.
Yeah.
If the SEC does not care about the NCAA,
Oh well, we know that.
How shitty would that be?
Yeah.
You're the first round pick and you can't play football because you got to pay taxes.
Well, if you're the first round pick, I'm sure
you'll be able to pay
Right.
taxes.
next year the Detroit Lions will take care of it for you.
So long as you're not in prison for not paying those taxes.
That's the key. You go your first year, a freshman, second year, sophomore, you going into the third year, and the federal government throws your ass in jail. You're not getting drafted for 4 years. Wesley Snipes is trying to make Blade 5 right now. Because his ass needs the money.
Your options are going to be the CFL or the Indoor Football League.
Yep. That's all I'm saying is you bet. Hey, don't forget Zolt's league. Don't forget his league. Those are optional.
Get them people.
Just and Bruiser, I know you had brought up West Virginia. One of the things I actually had heard, one of the reasons why the Big Ten aren't going after them was of the 65 Power 5 schools, West Virginia made the least amount of revenue in 2019 prior to COVID, and was actually only one of 5 Power 5 schools that had a total deficit across all of their athletics and a deficit for football, which is pretty much unheard of.
I don't necessarily think that West Virginia needs to be in the Big Ten, but you have the AAC, you have the ACC. Like, there's places that West Virginia could go.
Oh, absolutely. Outside of the Big 12, I mean, that just makes no sense. Like it did at the time because they really had nowhere else to go when they went to the Big 12. But I mean, at this point, with it pretty much dissolving, like they're either going to have to go ACC or Big 10 at this point. There's really no other options unless the Big 12 merges with the Pac-10, which I could definitely foresee that too.
I could see the Mountain West and the Big 12 merging.
Yeah, that's definitely an option too. I mean, you start throwing teams in like Houston. You throw a Boise State, maybe a BYU, teams like that in
I
there. I
mean,
mean, those teams have been competitive over the last few years
I have
you
a question that anybody can answer. Why does Boise State have a blue field?
because they can.
Because
I
they
knew
want
the
to
answer to this at one point.
Money.
they want to kill as many birds as possible.
That's actually false.
How does that kill birds?
They think
The
it's water
rumor,
and they fucking.
Yeah, the
the
rumor was,
urban
yeah, they
legend
fly
was
overhead
is
and
that
hit water and just dive bomb into it.
when the field isn't painted with the hash lines and stuff on it, it looks like a lake, and geese and ducks mistake it and go to land and on the lake, and it's astroturf, and they break their legs and break their neck and break their wings and kill themselves essentially. But
Okay.
there was a reason that they had. There was a reason that they had blue turf, and I knew it at one point, and I don't remember it now.
I was just
90
wondering. I was
seconds, can you
curious.
figure it out?
What's that?
90 seconds, can you figure it out?
I'll Google it later. I'll Google it later because like I said, I knew it at one point.
Well, what is it? I think is it Eastern Washington or something that has the red? That's pretty fucking sweet too.
Yeah.
Bright as shit.
If you start putting like BYU and those schools into the Big 12, you kind of get back to the old days of the Big 8. Back in the 8, SMU and places like that.
Really, this has no effect here up in Michigan. We're forced to watch khaki pants and U of M and Michigan State be shitty all year. So we don't really care anymore until one of those two teams make a move.
All right, I found it. It said that the president at the time said, since they were taking out the green and everybody knew that it wasn't going to be a real field, he said, why not just turn around and make sure that it was a representation of the school colors? So that's why they already had an orange track going around it. He figured putting a blue field in the middle would turn around and compete.
Fair enough. Just wonder.
So there's your answer.
That's why we're here, to educate.
Yep, dropping the knowledge. Sometimes good and sometimes useless information.
I'm full of that.
Ain't that the truth?
Full of something.
That too.
To exaggerate on what George was saying, he said that it was their way of creating a home field advantage. He said when you had Nebraska and Wisconsin, it's red and orange all over in the stands, and it's intimidating. So why not have a blue field?
Hey, there's a play they ran a few years ago. They had to make a rule because of their asses.
He said people called it Smurf turf because it was all blue and
It is
a Smurf turf.
Listen, the player on the kickoff, they had one guy over to the far right and the other guy to the far left laid down on the turf. And he blended in so well that when the ball went up, he jumped up and they didn't even know the guy was over there because he blended in with the turf and he ran up and caught the ball and ran for a touchdown. They actually had to come up with a rule because of that.
Yeah, but that wasn't. I know what you're talking about, but that was actually with the Army. The Army pulled that one off.
John Cena move, huh?
It was an Army. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
Right blue field where the play.
I just had to look up the video recently on that the kick returner was blended into the field. He was laying down on the field.
I heard earlier that Suds wanted a race preview for this weekend because it's Watkins.
That's right. Suds is just dying for that NASCAR.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you anymore. Have a nice day. He made a left turn. Another left turn.
They're making left and right this week.
It's a road course weekend. They're going left and right. And Watkins Glen is actually predominantly all right turns.
So yeah, suck it, Suds.
Mhm.
And he's muted. That's even better.
Oh, he unplugged his headphones, everything. He ain't listening to shit right now.
No, he is. He don't know he's muted.
It ought to be. It honestly ought to be interesting on Sunday because this is the first time in 20 years that the trucks have ran at Watkins Glen,
Ooh.
and the last winner of the truck race was Greg Biffle. And then you got the Xfinity on Saturday. But Sunday, you had 2 weeks off, and you have
Ah,
Kevin
there we
Harvick.
go. There's the NASCAR background for it.
There you go.
Ah.
You've got
Brought to you by Mud City. Woohoo.
with Amarola winning at New Hampshire before the break.
Fucked up everything.
It turned the playoff system on its head because you have 4 races left before the playoffs start. You have 2 road courses, you have Michigan, and then you have Daytona.
Son's doing.
We should
And
all do that to him when he starts talking basketball.
Let's just can't look. He's like NASCAR background.
And with the road courses, you could get a first time winner. I mean, Chase Briscoe won the first race at the Indy Roval last year with the Xfinity. You could get him to. I mean, if he wins next week and stays in the top 30 in points, he's in.
My bad. We done yet? Oh,
No,
No.
we're not.
ring my phone when we're done. I'm gonna take a nap.
If he stays in the top 30 in points, then he's in the playoffs. And now you're looking at a scenario where Kevin Harvick, last season's regular season champion, is out of the playoffs entirely.
That team has been garbage this year, though. That whole Stuart Haas team.
100%. And it has to do with the new body template rules that they came up with at the beginning of the season. Rodney Childers, the mad scientist that he is, found a little bit of extra downforce coming out of the wheel wells and on the side skirts, and they took that away from him this year. They put new rules in for the fenders, and now you see that speed that Kevin Harvick had is gone.
Just bring up the points. Current points.
Hamlin's still leading points.
But not by much.
Not by much, but he still is.
He hasn't even got a win this year.
Nope.
No, and that's
But
the
he's
other
been
thing.
consistent. And I'm taking the consistency every
Well, that's
single one.
that's the other
You can
thing that comes into play. If you get 2 first-time winners, and let's say Kyle Larson repeats at either Michigan or Daytona and wins, you get 2 first-time winners who are above the 30th spot in points, and stay that way through the regular season. And you get a Kyle Larson win. Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick are out of the playoffs.
Well, Harvick's sitting down here at 10.
But he's on the bottom of the cutoff right now as far as the playoffs are concerned because he doesn't have a win.
But yeah, if you have a win, you're automatically
You
in.
have a win, you're automatically eliminated.
So he could.
Yeah, because Michael McDowell's going to make the playoffs because he got that Daytona 500 win.
Because he got the 500 win and he's above 30th in points.
Wait, so you just have to win one to even be in it?
Yep.
You have to get an automatic seat at the table in the playoffs.
So
If you win a
Amarola-
race and then finish the
Yeah.
season
He messed
above
it up with his win.
30th in points, then yes, you will be in. When
So
Amarola won at New Hampshire 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now, he was 27th in points.
So my
And he only
question is, how about them rubber ducks?
Hey George, it was actually Kansas. Kansas
That's-
actually did that
Kansas.
trick play. I was just
Kansas.
looking at it.
As I say, I know I saw it in the Army one too. I've seen a couple of them. They did it in the pros too. Somebody else did it in the pros too.
That was pretty good. He laid between the letters. His uniform was completely blue and red, and the lettering in the end zone was blue and red. It was good.
Adam, did you see that Trackhouse announced that before Daytona they're going to announce their second driver for next year?
Probably Kurt Busch, right?
No, Kurt Busch is going to 2311.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I know there was a rumor between the two. It was either going to go to the track house or he was going to go to the Jordan and Hamlin teams.
He's going to 2311. Rumor has it that Monster Energy and Gear Wrench are going with him,
Oh yeah, wherever he goes, Monster is going to follow.
and that there is strong consideration right now that Ross Chastain or Matt D will take that second seat at Trackhouse.
Which I think Ross should get the shot. I mean, he got his first chance, and he's been decent. But I feel bad for Matty D getting booted out of the 21.
I feel like Matt D, you need somebody to drive that Penske Xfinity car, right? And I feel like if you took Matt D and put him in that car and allowed him to run top 10, top 5 with that car in that program, you might build his confidence back up. And then, say in 2 years, with the way the next gen car is going and the way the business model of NASCAR is going, you might have another Ford team that crops up, and then you've got a Cup experienced driver and somebody who has his confidence back. Because I think part of what is wrong with Matt D right now is that he doesn't have any confidence.
Could be. I mean, because he hasn't done anything, and he was consistent last year, and then this year he hasn't done really anything. I mean, so there's obviously got to be something going on there mentally.
Well, and I've heard a bunch of people have backlash at him for getting mad about getting booted out of his seat. Well, when the news about Brad came out, what was that, May?
Shit, earlier than that, wasn't it?
April, May.
Somewhere in there.
Was when it first dropped that he was going to go to Roush. Well, when that leaked and came out, everybody assumed that
Matty D was going to the 2.
No, that Matty D would stay at the 21 and Cindric would go to the 2. Nobody even thought about Harrison Burton. Like, fuck Harrison Burton.
He's not even a Ford driver, is he?
No, he's a Toyota driver with Gibbs.
That's what I thought.
And he's won 4 races. This is his second year in Xfinity. He's won 4 races. And you're going to pull him up the Cup with the next gen car and make him a rookie next year.
That's risky.
Like, everybody's frozen on my screen. Oh, George moved. There he is.
We thought you froze.
We're good.
I was napping. Sorry.
I'm here. I'm just making a salad.
There you go. I got Chinese food in the house. We gotta help George with his fantasy team, though, Adam.
No, the fuck we don't. I got some catching up to do.
Adam's against me. Adam's actually trying to catch me,
Oh, is he?
and I'm trying to catch Gale.
Everybody is at this point.
Everybody's Gale's in first. I'm just a hair behind Chipper. And believe me, it's super close. So yeah, I plan on squishing Chipper this week and just trying to get a lot more points to get closer to Gale.
I mean, I would go with. I would definitely go with Kyle Busch and Tyler Reddick this weekend.
The thing is I always, every time I take Reddick, though, it's like he struggles or something, and the weeks I don't pick his ass, he does is when he does good. Like, he's been kind of one of those hit and miss picks this year.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, you
can't-
obviously got to you got to look at taking Elliott and Larson just because of what the fuck they're doing right now.
The outlier on that's Bowman.
Yeah,
Like Bowman's not done terrible at the Glen. Keselowski's never done terrible at the Glen.
yeah. I just don't want to pick. I don't pick Brad because I wanted to see him do good. When I don't pick him, he does better.
That's
Yeah, I
fair.
think the one time I picked Brad, he finished what, second?
Second or third. Yeah, it was when he let what was it, the Charlotte race or something, I think, or something. He finished second. He was the only one that we thought was going to beat Chase or Kyle or whatever, but didn't work out.
Brad didn't finish second at Charlotte this year.
When he finished third.
No.
Hey,
He
Chris
wasn't
Paul
top- he
decided.
Brad wasn't even in the top 10. Brad finished a couple laps down.
I picked a race where I think he finished like top 5. He was in contention for the win, though.
How you doing over there, Suds?
Because I was
Chris Paul just signed a
The
contract for
Pocono race, I think?
$120 million.
because I was at Charlotte.
Carson Wentz is not going to get surgery. He's refused. He's going to try rest. He hasn't fucking rested for the past 4 years.
I'll be up near Suds in a couple weeks, so I got to swing by, punch him in the throat on my way to the track.
It was a Texas
Jeez.
race.
Rude.
The All-Star race.
Hey, I'll beat you to it because I'll see him on the 14th. I'll be there.
That's fine. Just one quick one right in the throat.
Just make sure you're inside the house when you do it.
Oh,
I see
God.
what you did there.
That's funny.
Oh.
I gotta talk to Gail about seeing if I can get up there on the 14th.
So next week, I will turn around and I will check to make sure that we've got 8. We need 8 bodies. Yep, 8 bodies. Gotta solidify the NFL predictions for each division. So definitely assign everybody a division to predict and see what that what the scheduling looks, the outcome looks like, and then. Since we were so good on nailing the 2 teams going to the Super Bowl last year, let's see who we can screw this year.
I was gonna say, how were we on individual team predictions though? I'm very curious. I have no idea. And my question: those of us who are returning from last year, are we keeping the same divisions that we had?
No, I'll change it up. What?
Dang.
I want in on this.
What division did you have?
Let me start
I
out.
know.
It's gonna suck.
What division you have,
I
though?
was going to say we're going to have different people. Durkin's not in on this one.
Well, I know, but I kind of liked my NFC
Well-
South.
Well, okay. Well, if you want it, message me. Let me know which one you want. It's no problem.
I want the team with the lines
I
in it.
think George should do it randomly.
Really? I'm already stuck with the NFC West.
Yeah,
Come on.
randomly 5 minutes before the show.
Yeah. No, not for sure.
Where'd Bruiser go?
He gone.
Here you
I
go.
mean, if I pick a team, get out of the division,
Yeah,
can I at least get a
just
decent
message
one?
me message me which one. I'll let you know. I know I'll be piggy up at the NFC West. Zolt wants the South. That's no
I want
problem.
there to be no confusion.
No
What, the
problem.
AFC South or the NFC South?
NFC
No, he's
South.
taking NFC South.
So it's what I had last year.
Be gentle with my Panthers.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, I'm not going to pick them for last.
Yeah.
By a game, maybe.
I already know.
Yeah, you better give me mine tomorrow so that way I can start this shit tomorrow and have it ready for Monday.
Yeah,
Well,
same here.
it looks like Bruiser wants.
People are
Yeah.
getting their claims in.
Everybody's claiming. Everybody's claiming fast. Bruiser
I don't
says-
want the AFC North because I don't want to be biased, so I'll back off on the AFC North.
There you go.
You know what? Give me a division with the Cowboys, so I can just talk shit about
NFC
That's
AFC.
the NFC East.
Oh God, no, he play for the Bears now.
Oh, you want? I was gonna say you want your red rifle guy. That's the NFC
I was gonna
North.
talk shit about him.
Well,
We
that's the
can't-
NFC North. So
We can't spend 15 minutes talking about how bad Andy Dalton is. We just
We ain't
can't.
gonna spend 15. I'm just gonna run off like 10 words, and leave it at that.
He probably won't even be the starting quarterback.
He better not be.
Better not be.
I was gonna say, hopefully, is not. No, go ahead and pick one. But yeah, it's easier when everybody knows they've got a whole week to try to get it squared out because it's not an easy thing for those who have not done it. It takes a little while.
God, the
Yeah,
AFC South's
it
probably
takes
got
a
to be the
minute.
worst fucking division to do.
I don't know. That might be actually the easiest if you
They
think
suck.
about it.
Yeah,
Texans
go.
0-17.
somebody's got to win.
Yeah, the Titans.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go. Easy.
And
Yeah.
Jacksonville will be so hard to figure out their schedule just because you don't know what to expect out of them yet.
All right, I put mine in, George.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean
right.
that just means nobody's going to hold you to your predictions. I mean, you can't put it in chaos.
Well, remember, I get to deal with Matthew Stafford, Garoppolo, Wilson, and Murray. That ought to be tons of fun. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Maybe even that Trey Lance kid. Yeah,
I'm
tons of
not
fun on
big
my
yet.
end.
I picked
So
the
what's-
North. I picked the NFC North.
I'm trying to think of what's left. I'm like,
Well, you got
Anybody
NFC.
have the NFC North?
You got I was gonna say Shrods will probably take AFC East.
because the Patriots.
Patriots, Buffalo, Miami.
All right, I'm going to bed.
Suds, pick one.
I don't care.
All right,
All right.
you get what's left over.
Okay,
All right, later.
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 Oh God, we're still live.
Oh, yeah. Next week, NFL predictions.
Hey,
Yeah.
I think
on.
somebody's going to
Let me
win.
run-
Somebody's not going to win.
Let me run the clue.
And